for those who don't know, I'm Johnell. This is my guy, Matt Price, Cash Walking, and this is Heat Check, powered by Designated Report. Like I said, it's been a couple of weeks. Cash and I, busy people running around. We will get to your trip. You went to MSG to catch some college basketball last week. So I'll definitely let you get into that a little bit. But there's been a lot that's happened in the last 2 weeks. And probably the biggest story of them all has been Ja Morant. Again, we've talked about Ja Morant in a not so positive light on a few occasions on this show. And at this point, everybody knows what happened. Ja Morant, a couple weeks ago, following a game against the Denver Nuggets, goes out. I don't know who he was with. Was that reported? Was he just like with his friends? Was it teammates?
I don't know if he was with teammates or what, because that's the thing. The rules, if he was with teammates and the gun is around, it changes everything. So he might
That's
have just
true.
been with his boys, like his entourage, just
Yeah.
by himself, not with any teammates.
So Ja Morant, after the game, goes out to a strip club, having a good time, just like I'm sure a million other NBA players have in their lifetime. But he jumps on Instagram Live, and for whatever reason, holds up a gun next to his face. Obviously, somebody screen records it. It goes viral. And since then, the Grizzlies suspended him for a couple of games. They wanted to get out in front of it. And then after that, Ja put out a statement. He told us that he was going to seek counseling and the whole nine. And we really haven't heard much from him until today, actually. The NBA released a statement saying that Ja was going to be retroactively suspended without pay for 8 games, which he'll be available to return March 20th next week.
Yeah, right. Monday, yeah.
And also, he went on with Jalen Rose earlier today. And I have a couple of quotes. Yeah, like literally 30 minutes before the show.
Yeah, it was right before it.
Yeah. And what did he say? Ja was on with Jalen Rose, and he acknowledged that he made mistakes. He's mentioned that he's spoken with therapists. He's done some Reiki treatments, anxiety breathing, etc. All these things to help him with, whatever he's dealing with. One of the things that I truly appreciated was he referenced his daughter as part of the reason why he felt like he needed to go get counseling or therapist or whatever the case is, which is fantastic. And he said that right now he's in the best place mentally that he has been in a very long time. So long-winded introduction, again, kind of recapping something that's happened over the last couple of weeks. And obviously, yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we're hoping Ja comes back better, better player, better person. And, we can move past this and just get back to the basketball. All that said, like I mentioned, Ja will be eligible to come back on March 20th. Do you think he comes back the 20th? Do you think he comes back, does he take a couple more games? Does he sit out the rest of the season? What are your thoughts in terms of that?
So, first and foremost, shout out to Jalen Rose for doing what he did by conducting this interview and doing the best that he could as a former player and an OG in this league that's a member of the media for changing the narrative for Ja. Because make no mistake about it, that was a well crafted interview by the two of them and the good side of Ja's people who put that together with ESPN and made sure that they changed the narrative. Now, the reception of said interview is how I think when he comes back they're going to figure that out. So if people really take it as genuine, which I do, I think it was real genuine because he brought up his daughter, like you mentioned. Yes. So I think that it's going to be something that he's going to be judged in the court of public opinion right now because he didn't break any laws and he didn't do really anything wrong. It was just like an eye-popping thing. It was something that you don't expect for a professional athlete to do, something we all know as black men is dangerous and stupid, that he acknowledged with Jalen Rose in that interview. So the reception of that interview, I think, is going to determine when he comes back. If everybody is like, "Oh, this is great," and things cool down, he back on the 20th. But if they're still talking about it, we get to Sunday night. You know what I mean? I think they might say, he's going to take a couple more days for himself and everything like that. But look, it's what's important. I don't think that I didn't see the entire interview, but I think what's important that he has to address is the people around him. The people around
Absolutely.
him is why I think he's in these situations, because he's either trying to impress them or trying to prove something to these people that he is a way that he either isn't or doesn't have to be. And then 3, they're using him to get access to places that they otherwise wouldn't be able to get.
That too.
And a lot of those places are the wrong places. Look, like you said, ton of NBA players. They're in strip clubs all over the United States. This is you've seen the table. There's money on the floor, wings on the table. These guys just worked hard. They're in there. They're trying to unwind. You know what I'm saying? They went over there for dinner and just that's it. It's the culture. Hate it or love it. That's what it is with these young guys, right? He's gotta be more careful. If you're doing something like that, be with your teammates. Exactly. You know what I mean? Be with your teammates. You don't need to be out there with these random people. These people that aren't on your level professionally are going to ruin your status professionally. So Absolutely. I think he's gotta take care of that. That is what I want to see him change, and that is what I don't think he really addressed in the interview. He said the gun wasn't his.
Yes, correct.
So who was it? Correct. Like, man, I've been pulled over and all that stuff like that, and stuff been found in the car. And look, everybody's saying, you always say, it ain't mine.
Yeah.
Everybody in the car saying it ain't mine. But it's
somebody's. Exactly. Exactly.
So you in the strip club, and the thing is, he was holding it. He was holding it like it's like, oh, look what I found. Like, that's how he held it too. Yeah. Like, it might not have been his, but like, look, there's guns like I said, there's guns around, money on the floor, wings on the table. You gotta either take that to a private part of your home. You're making $200 million now. Build a strip club in the basement, dog. Like, I don't know. You just got to make better decisions. And that's what I want to see from Ja moving forward, because he's a great talent and the NBA needs him. No disrespect to guys like Jason Tatum, great player. He's not the same energy, he's not that same swagger as Ja Morant. Other young players, even Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, 25, young guy, but he's in Cleveland. He's not the same type of energy as Ja Morant. Like, these are the American players, like the next one's up. Zion can't stay on the court right now. Everybody loves him, but we got to see him. Same with LaMelo Ball. American player. Like, Ja is the guy who's always on the floor. He's setting it off from every time he comes on. He's taking on the biggest names, the biggest teams, everybody, and he's beating them. So he's got to focus on that. Like, you are about to be the NBA in 3 years or 4 years, whenever LeBron leaves. It's going to be the international guys, Wembanyama, when he comes, and Giannis and Jokic and Embiid and Luka, and then you. You're going to beat the American player. Steph and these guys are going to sit down soon, so he's got to lock into that and realize that you could either it's a two-way street. You could either change the trajectory of your family going one way, or you could stop it right now, and they could cut you off.
Yep. And I agree with a lot of what you said, and I feel like I'm a pretty forgiving person in general. So like I truly do like to give people the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, him mentioning his daughter seemed sincere. And I know you said that you didn't get to see the full interview yet, but essentially he was like, my daughter, and I don't know how old she is, but he's like, my daughter will come to me and tell me when she's having a bad day. And he's like, if she's able to tell me that at this age, then I should be able to acknowledge, that I need to talk to somebody if I'm having, you know what I'm saying? So I found it genuine as well. And with regards
to real perspective. That's like a
100%.
real perspective. Yeah, like look, that's the just real way to put it.
Yeah, yeah, and for sure. I mean, he'll definitely be back. I mean, I feel like I preface a lot of these conversations, Ben Simmons, John Morant, like we're not psychologists, we're not therapists, like we're not trying to get inside their heads, but John Morant, for the better part of a decade and a half, like basketball is what he knows, and
Yeah,
basketball is what he's done at a high level. So, as much as I do believe the counseling and the therapy and things like that are beneficial and things that he needs, I also think he needs to be around his teammates. I also think he needs to be on a basketball court, because I do think all of those things go into who John Morant is as not only a player, but like as a person. It seems like a lot of his identity is tied up in the sport of basketball. That's
yeah.
how we know him. So I do think he'll be back. Whether or not he's back on the 20th, I don't think it's a big deal, quite frankly. The Grizzlies have won their last three. I think they're 3-2 in the time that he's been out. So it's not like they're plummeting or anything like that. They're kind of treading water until he gets back.
Yeah, they're still a good team without him, but they need him to do anything in like legitimate, anything lasting.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads right into my next question. Let's say, he will be back next week is the assumption, but let's say he's out for an extended period of time. Let's say he's out for another 2 weeks, where he misses, 12, 15 games total. Are the Grizzlies a legitimate threat if Ja is not playing on that team?
They're not a threat in the playoffs to beat anybody without him. In the playoffs,
Agreed.
we know you need elite players to win the playoffs. It's plain and simple. You can't make it through even the first round without an elite player. Nobody does it.
Yep.
There's not teams of guys who like don't have a superstar to make it through. I haven't seen it. They're positioned good in the West right now. They're sitting at second in the West. They're 41-26.
Yep.
Sacramento can get them. I don't think Phoenix can get them because they're going through their own issues with the injury to KD, and they're still just trying to put everything together and survive this thing with a depleted roster, a minus KD right now. After that, the West, that's where the West gets like super crowded. It's like Golden State to the Lakers from 5 to 10 separated within a game. But so they're safe at the top of the West.
They've also got the second easiest strength of schedule through the end of the season as of today.
Exactly. That's important to note too. But then I say, okay, let's get into the playoffs now, right? If they don't let him come back going into that, then it's 2-7, right? 7 right now is Minnesota. Minnesota's playing really good right now, really, really good.
Yep.
And Anthony Edwards is turning himself into a real star, all-star appearance this year. That's not a team you want to see without your superstar.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. And Minnesota does a place starving for playoff wins and postseason success. So I think it's something that the organization, they're gonna have to really keep an eye on, and whether or not he comes back and is really ready, mentally.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. I've said it a million times on this show. Like, you can win in this league with a star. You don't win in the playoffs without a superstar.
Can't do it.
And while this team is very good, kind of across the board, he's the catalyst. He's the engine that makes it go. So, I mean, even if we don't think he's going to miss an extended period of time, but even if he were to miss the rest of the regular season, I mean, I still think they're going to sit in the top 5 in the West, and then if he's any semblance of the John Morant who's been playing this year, I think they'll be fine in the play. I mean, I don't think they're going to make a run anyway in the playoffs, but with him back, I think they're absolutely dangerous. It's a team that you don't want to play.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So with that said, we talked about John Morant. Dylan Brooks has been in
God.
on social media. He's chirping with everybody. Draymond. They played Golden State last week. And they got into it. Draymond and Dylan Brooks.
He had him a little night though.
He played well, man. So, and that's the thing. So let me ask you this. The Memphis Grizzlies, as it stands right now on whatever today is, March 15th, are they the most dislikable team in the NBA?
Honestly, they are. Like, they have just the energy you don't like. Like, I don't like Steven Adams when he's there. He's like annoying.
I don't
like Steven Adams. I don't like him, because he's like a brute. He's like he gets away with mad fouls. He plays the game a weird way. Like, he plays it like it's rugby. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And then Jaren Jackson, he believes he's better than he is. Same with Dylan Brooks. I do like Desmond Bane. It's crazy because when he came in, it was like between him and Quentin Grimes, and I wanted him. They were talking about him. I remember at the draft, they were like, "Oh, the Knicks should go for this," and then they drafted Grimes. So it's crazy. I like him, but John Morant, on the court, he's special to watch. But it's like the energy, the way they be chirping at everybody. Yep. That's what. Look, I like the game. The games are cool, but I just don't like their energy. They have not accomplished enough to talk the way they talk. So this is mirroring what Draymond said. Like, and the Warriors are weird too. They're kind of standing on they're the defending champs, so they could talk that this year. But I feel like they've been doing this for years, and there was a period between the championships there that they wasn't doing nothing.
For sure.
And they were we got 3 championships. Like, no. Every year you got to prove it again. I'm sorry. Yeah. Every year you got to prove it again. And these guys haven't done a thing in Memphis.
At all.
Nothing.
At all.
Nothing. So they got to chill out. Like, the whole ever since we got in the West, it's been ugly for them. In the West, honestly, the West isn't as good this year. Even though there's a lot of great players out there. But the West is not as good, I don't feel like. Like, the teams are not as good. The East is top heavy, but those 4 top teams in the East are better than the first 7 in the West. You know what I mean? Like, you go a long way through the West before you find anybody better than Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, or Cleveland. Those teams are all really, really good teams.
Yeah. Now I'm with you. I'm torn because I don't like the Grizzlies. I did like them, but they've just gotten they've gotten very annoying to me. I think it's in part because they haven't won anything. So if they were to go out and win a championship this year, I think my perspective would change a little bit, just because it's like you went out and backed it up.
That's when I was like, okay, this was like validate. It validates it if you win.
Exactly.
But if you lose, like,
it's gonna get real loud.
You're not valid. Yeah, you're not just the new kids on the block anymore. You were the new kids on the block when you beat Golden State. Yep. When Steph, when Clay was still out and they had to play in victory over them. And Steph went crazy, but they still beat him. Yep. That was when they were the new kids. That's when they arrived. We were like, okay, John Morant. I was like, year 2, John Morant, right? I think, yeah. And I was like, okay, it was the COVID year, and you're sitting there looking at it like, this is a good looking team, and now we're expecting more out of them.
Yep.
And they haven't delivered yet, but they talking like they have. I don't like it.
Yeah. So that part of it, and then on the other side, I think in sports in general, you do need a villain. So I know I've seen and heard people saying like, oh, like, I don't want. They're going to make the playoffs, but like, oh, I don't want them to make the playoffs, or I want them to get bumped in the first round. It's like, I kind of want to see them get to a Western Conference Finals, and either you're going to root for them because you love them, or you're going to root against them because you hate them, but it's going to make for great basketball. So as annoying as I think they are, or as annoying as they are to me, I think it's good for the game. So I'm here for it, honestly. Like I love the chippiness. I love Draymond and Dylan Brooks going at it. Like I want to see more of it. And then, hopefully it comes to its apex and we, get something magical.
What's crazy is that like Dylan Brooks is doing what Draymond is.
Yeah.
like that's what he's trying to be. So just win, man, and then you could do all that. It validates all that stuff. But I hate it from a team that hasn't done anything. I don't like it.
Historically, do you have a team, an NBA team that you've hated, that you do hate currently? Anything?
So the late '90s, I was not very fond of the
Jordan?
Miami Heat.
No,
it was the Miami Heat because they were always in the way of the Knicks. They were always
with Alonzo
with Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway and Glenn Rice, these guys down there. Like that team was good, but we kept knocking them off. And then that's when Jeff Van Gundy holding Alonzo Mourning's leg. Like, yo, those were intense games. We beat them as an 8 seed. And made it to the finals when they were a 1 seed. That was it. That's when Allen Houston made the runner to end the series. Like, yo, I hated those dudes. It would be some battles during the regular season. They were always fighting. I didn't like them, and I couldn't stand Alonzo Mourning. He swore he was Patrick Ewing. He's not ever in his life. And then Jordan, man, it's like as a basketball fan, like everybody else who he tortured. You're in awe of his greatness, but you're just sad that it had to be you.
Yes.
I'm sad that he had to do it to the Knicks to get to all 6 championships. Like I'm pretty sure they faced each other in like 4 out of the 6. It's like finals periods they went. The first 3, I think they went all 3 of them. It was like once in the second round and then 2 in the conference finals. Very sad stuff.
So I'm in a little bit of a different boat because I've never had an NBA team. So for you, it's the Knicks. So it's like teams that messed with the Knicks or prevented you from going to the championship or whatever.
Paul Pierce too. Yeah, couldn't stand Paul Pierce.
Thank you, Paul Pierce. I don't want to say I hate Paul Pierce. That's very strong. I do not like Paul Pierce at all.
I hated him as a basketball player in Boston when he was there.
So that 07-08 Boston team that won the championship.
Oh my God.
I loved KD. So I was happy he got a ring, but Paul Pierce, don't get me wrong. I truly dislike Paul Pierce. And he said stupid stuff over the years. LeBron's not top 5. I've had a better career than Dwayne Wade. I'm a better shooter than Klay Thompson. He says stupid stuff and it makes me mad. But don't get me wrong. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the all-time great players. I'm not going to take anything away from him in that light. But his game, he was so slow, and he got every shot off. Yeah, he got every shot off, and I'm just like, how? Why? And then they won the championship. I can't stand
he was
that
hooping
team.
In the finals too.
He was
hooping in the finals.
He was.
His shot got way better at that point in his career. He somehow got to the rim and finished strong.
Yes.
Even though he couldn't jump over 2 quarters stacked on top of each other. It was crazy. I don't know. And he was slow.
My gosh.
Luka, he was like a pace player. Those pace players, man, if you know how to get to where you want to go, all you need is quick switches and quick change of motions and jabs. That's what these guys do. They just keep you guessing on where you're actually going. And they try, everything on defense in the NBA. Guys are so good, you're trying to anticipate everything.
Exactly.
So if he hits you with a little of that, and that's all it needs. He just knew how to get there and get back.
Freaking Paul Pierce.
He gamed the Knicks a bunch of times, Joe. There was a bunch of game winners. That was one. The true nickname, when he got that nickname, I'm thinking was against the Knicks. Him and Antoine Walker.
Yeah.
It was a game winner he hit. Oh, man, I was tight.
Yeah.
It was the Celtics were a part of what really when they swept the Knicks in a season. That's when they fired everybody, and then the Isaiah Thomas thing started. It was they kind of brought along that like 18-year period after like 2002, 2003. Like it was darkness, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they could have beat the Celtics. That's what was going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dark times, bro. Some dark times, but it's bright now.
Man,
We're living in the sunny day.
we're not talking about the Knicks today. When's Jalen Brunson coming back?
I hope when he's healthy. I said on Twitter, I'll give him my actual foot. I'll cut it off. He can have my foot. It's perfectly fine. I would do anything.
Which one? You had Achilles surgery, so you got to give him the correct one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which foot. I think it's his left foot and my left Achilles, but he don't need the Achilles. He can use his Achilles. Just take the foot.
Fair enough. Speaking of feet, actually, KD, we talked about this in our group chat.
Oh my God!
Freak accident that has sidelined him for the next couple of weeks. What I truly still don't understand what happened. Like, was the floor just wet? Was it just a freak accident? Like
his ankles are wrong. They're not right anymore. I don't know how else to explain it. Me and Sendell, friend of ours, friend of the show.
Yes.
He said, he was like, "Yo, he gotta have bad ankles." He's like, "These ankles not right." He's like, he just stepped. He wasn't even making like a jab move or anything.
Yes.
He was just trying to jump. He was just trying to jump, and his ankle.
It was literally like flat. Like his ankle was flat.
Yeah,
on the ground.
I would see if he was trying to do like a euro or something like that, but it wasn't even that. He was just planting to jump, and his ankle just rolled. So that is not a good sign. If it's that tender, then when he comes back, it's gonna be something else. Like this worries me. This worries me a lot.
I agree. This is knock on wood, but it feels like it's shaken out the way he got hurt in Golden State, where it was this injury where it's like it's bad, but rest it and you'll be fine when you get back. And then he got back and he tore his Achilles, and it's
immediately got hurt again.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case, but like, I mean, and in our group chat, we were talking about it. Sean mentioned it. He was like, why isn't KD being called street clothes? And it's a valid question because that man has been hurt a lot in the last few years.
Lately, he's missed a lot of games the last 5 years. I mean, like entire seasons, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing that he's going through.
Again, hopefully he bounces back because
there was no way to do it. Exactly. And this is the injury. You notice ankle injuries in basketball this late in the season for a big man who's dealt with foot issues and stuff like that. Like, this is not ever going to get back to 100% this season. So when is the point? When is the point that he feels comfortable or the doctors feel comfortable to say you're ready to go out there and play? You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. I know, like that next day or something, we were talking, and that's when the talk about him missing the rest of the regular season started came about. And I think the official report from the Suns was he was going to be reevaluated in a couple of weeks. So that's not he'll be back in a couple of weeks. That's he's going to sit down with a doctor, and they're going to go through and see how he feels. I mean, he could be out for another 2 weeks after that. You know?
Yeah.
And exactly. The playoffs is right around the corner at this point.
Bro, I'm looking at my calendar right now. So we are, today's the 16th? 15th. So 1, 2, 3. We're a month away from the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little less than a month, actually. Like less than 30 days.
And like you said, there's
I think April 8th or 9th, I think the playoffs start.
That sounds about right. Like you said, there's a ramp-up period. So you don't want and it's a ramp-up period from the ankle, but there was also a ramp-up period from his injury when he got traded.
Yeah,
so like he hasn't played like real meaningful basketball in a very long time. And then you're gonna expect him to come in, a week before the playoffs and get like it's just
and play 3 months worth of 3 months of intense high-level basketball. You saw what it did. So, like you said, when he came back in the finals. This is the games they're about to be involved in next month are going to be high-intensity games that you got to play instinctively, or I
Yep.
said instinctively, and you just got to play. And when you're worried about rolling your ankles and blowing your knee out, that it's going to be hard to do that. And he's a player who plays instinctively. Like that's part of his thing. He takes
Yep.
whatever the defense gives him and it creates all the time. So I don't doubt Kevin Durant. I really don't. But it's just, can he make it? This is a. I don't want anybody to be mistaken when I say, because you don't have to believe it, but I'm saying that this is a championship or bust team. That was a championship or bust trade.
I agree with
So
that.
I question whether or not he's going to make it the whole way through this. All three of them, and Booker
That's very
and
true.
Chris Paul.
That's
I
very
question
true.
all three of them whether or not they can make it from early April or mid-April to late June and win a title healthy.
So the Sun weren't part of our show sheet today, but we're kind of getting into it. So
yeah,
similar question that I have for you as it pertains to the Grizzlies. If KD is out for an extended period of time, do you think the Sun can weather this storm through the end of the regular season and into the playoffs? Because in getting Kevin Durant, they gave up some of their depth, particularly Mikal Bridges. You know what I'm saying? So like their championship run, you say championship or bust this year, it's all on the shoulders of KD, Book, CP3, and DeAndre Ayton. They have to carry this team because they don't have the depth that they used to have. So if KD's done for the rest of the regular season, and we kind of got to see what he looks like in the first round of the playoffs, like, do you have concerns about this team, the way it's currently constructed and with the health of their key players?
Yeah, my concern is the depth because, like I said, I got to reiterate, I don't think that they're going to make it through intact. So there's going to be a guy who misses a game or two in this stretch in the playoffs. And can they get through that? I just don't know if they got the horses to compete at that high of a level. These guys are good regular season fill-ins, but I don't know if any of them are going to be the level of talent that you need to win games on the road in the playoffs, which is what you need to do to win series in the playoffs. So it's going to be tough. And I have my doubts, and certainly, mainly their depth.
Yeah. And again, to your point, even as good as we think Phoenix could be, as scary as that team can be, I'm also still not sure that they're better than the top teams in the East. So a lot of things have to go right for Phoenix down the stretch and into the playoffs, health being probably the biggest one at this point.
Like realistically, this also wasn't on the show, but I'm just gonna say it. Like, is anybody gonna beat Milwaukee? Nobody in the West is gonna beat Milwaukee. No, who's gonna stop this man?
Yeah, I saw your tweet and I agree, bro. Like, the way Giannis is playing, like he is, like we look at Luka, we look at Jason Tatum, and we're like, they're incredible. They can score anywhere on the court. They could give you 50 on any night. But like Giannis, it's like, who's stopping him? Like if he wants to go out and score 35 and 12, he's going to.
Night. His slow nights are like 21 or like 22 and like 12. Those are like slow nights where he plays like 29 minutes because they blew everybody out.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That team is really good.
He scored like 38 or something like that in 29 minutes the other night. It like 38, and it was just ridiculous stuff what he's doing. Stuff what he's doing, and now he's making threes.
And I was just about to say that. Yeah.
So what are you gonna do now?
I know it was. I think it was James Harden. He just dribbles and dunks or whatever he said, and like, yeah, he does do that, and he does it very well, very effectively.
Back then, he did that.
But the fact that he can confidently, he's not shooting threes at a 40% clip, but the fact that he's going to keep you honest and he can knock them down.
You can't
the
leave
fact
him
that,
out there. You can't
the
leave him out
fact
there
that he
anymore.
can hit the mid range, like he's a nightmare to guard.
You can't leave him out there. And if you do, he can hit him. And then once you come out there and actually try to challenge him, he is 2 steps and on your center's head. It's crazy. 2 steps. Pump fake 2 steps. He is dunking.
Yeah.
On your center.
from the foul line. Like that man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bro.
Man, there's nothing you can do.
They're really, really good. And actually, again, we're getting way off topic. The Nuggets have been on a little bit of a slide as of late. Again, I think they're going to be fine, but potentially, are there chinks in that armor out in Denver?
I think their winning formula is so team basketball, so share the basketball that if it's so guys got to all be hot, and they have been. But now you're starting to see some struggles with the shooting. You're starting to see foul trouble late in games. You're starting to see little nicks and injuries and stuff on some of these guys missing games. So these are the dog days of the NBA season. You got to get through March and then get into April healthy, and you hope to have everybody there. So this is why these guys really be load managing, because you get to this point, and they'll tell you. Carissa said the other day, she was like, "Dang, like they really play every other night." I'm like, yeah. Like at this point in the season, after the All-Star break, they play like literally like 30 games in like 40 something days, and these are West Coast, East Coast trips, and all that. So you got to get through it, but it's tough. So that is my worry with them is exactly that. Like, is everybody going to stay on? Because yes, we know Jokic can do his thing, but a lot of him and his greatness is dependent on these other guys too, making shots. You know, he's leading second in the league in assists right now behind James Harden, and that's dependent on Michael Porter Jr. in those corner threes. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hitting those corner threes. Aaron Gordon slashing that baseline and catching alley-oops. I watched them play, so I know how they play. If one of these guys has an off night, it's tough. But when you look at their box scores, man, it's a beautiful thing. Everybody's eating over there. Everybody, eight or 9 guys deep. Everybody's eating. They're eating so much they got rid of a guy like Bones Highland because they had too many guys.
Yeah. So in the West, I mean, I guess it's the East as well, but in the West, do you think the 1 seed is important? Do you think Denver is prioritizing the 1 seed, or do you just want to be in the top half so that you're hosting a game 7?
I think the 1 seed is a curse in the West. It truly is, because those playing teams are all so serious. I said a couple months ago when Oklahoma City got a little 7-game winner, I said, "Yo," I tweeted it. I'm gonna look it up and get it posted. These guys are 34 35. They're a game under 500. They're 8th in the West right now, and they're gonna sneak in the play-in. I said it. They're gonna find a way to sneak in the play-in. So you don't want to see them. They have an elite player in SGA, Minnesota 7, Dallas and LA at 9 and 10. And you honestly, even if those 2 don't make it, you don't want to see Utah or New Orleans either, or Portland. Like, I mean, there's a lot of teams as you don't want to have to play them 7 games. They got elite players. They're teams with playoff experience, veterans. So I definitely don't want to have to see Luka, Kyrie, and the Mavs in the first round.
But I think that kind of goes to your point about the West not being as good as the East, or maybe not as top heavy as the East.
Yeah.
But like kind of across the board, like you can see LA or New Orleans or one of these teams that are in the play. You could see them knocking off a Denver. You know what I'm saying? In a tough 6-7 game series. You know what I'm saying? So like
you haven't seen that in the NBA playoffs in a while. It's usually chalk in the NBA playoffs. There's not a lot of upsets in first rounds and stuff like that.
So that's kind of why, I don't know how much that one seed really means. Again, it's home cooking for game 7 should it get there, and I do get all that, but um health like
Yeah,
I would trade my guys being healthy, like if it meant resting guys down the stretch or whatever the case is,
100%.
having healthy guys in a game 7 on the road than not being healthy and having to, go in with my guys at 85% for game 7 at home. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. I just wouldn't want to have to see any of those guys in
I
the
agree.
first, because that, like I said, you got LeBron James or Kyrie and Luca, or a feisty OKC team. Any of those teams that could, Golden State could potentially drop down to the play, and you end up
Yep.
having to go against them in the first round. That's one barrage of threes. You see what they did the other night, him and Clay. It's
Yes.
like a barrage of threes, and the game was
Yep.
over in the first half. There was no coming back. Like, you just can't recover from it. Like Phoenix, they stood no chance.
Yep.
It was like 40 something to like 17 in no time because they just like three.
Yeah.
So you're that away from being down in the series. It could be 2-2, and you go to Golden State, and now look. So
Yeah.
ugly stuff. Ugly stuff.
Yes. So we don't typically do this, but we're gonna step away from the NBA. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
March 16th, is March Madness, the start of March Madness. It's a beautiful time of year, honestly. Just you have basketball first thing in the morning.
Oh yeah.
You get to watch it all day, especially in the
All
early
day.
rounds, and you get some crazy, like just great games. So we just want to touch on it with March Madness starting up. College play. I know you watch a good amount of college basketball. You are a Tar Heels fan. We touched on them earlier, but is there a college player that's jumped out to you this season that you think would eventually, it could be a freshman, it could be a senior, somebody who you think will be a special NBA player?
I actually got a few players. All right, I got a few players. Okay, so one, Alabama's Brandon Miller. This kid is special. Now, he
Yeah.
got caught up with some
Yep.
drama. I don't want to get into all that because the law said he didn't break any laws.
Correct.
That is what it is. And I wish nothing but the best for him. But he is a player that I really, really enjoy watching. He's a long, lanky kid. He's got the ability to score at all 3 levels. Plays with a high energy and a high motor. I really like that, and I think he's going to be a really good NBA player. Probably going to be a top 5 pick. Now,
Yes.
I want to move to a player that I saw in person a couple times this year, who I really, really like, and it's UConn's Jordan Hawkins.
Yes.
He's 6'5". He's a sophomore. He's ready to go right now for the NBA because he's a shooter and he can play defense. And because in Dan Hurley's system, if you know anything about UConn basketball, that dude's going to get those guys to play defense. He wants his guys to defend. So he can play defense, and this kid can shoot the three. He's shooting. He's 87% from the free throw line. He takes 4 threes a game. He's shooting 37.8% from three. That's good. That's really good for a college player. So I like him. He has an NBA skill set that's ready to go right now, plug and play. And then my last one is not a guy. This is for the female tournament. If you have not gotten the chance to watch Iowa play and Caitlin Clark, make sure you record it. You look her up.
Yes.
This girl is must see TV. I'm telling you right now. If you try to fancy yourself as a basketball fan, this girl is box office. She's must see TV. She's like the female Steph Curry of college basketball. She shoots from everywhere. Legitimate logo shots, not shoots them for game winners. She shoots them in rhythm. She shoots them with There's 30 seconds on the shot clock. She shoots them with 26 seconds on the shot clock.
Yes.
She crosses half court in the middle of the game in rhythm and shoots half court shots.
Yes.
This girl is the real deal. She is a bona fide scorer. And I'm telling you right now, look for Iowa in that women's March Madness. Shout out to all them giving them the name. It is March Madness too. They play good basketball.
Yes.
That's who you need to look for. Caitlin Clark. Check her out. She's killing them. Killing them.
I'm definitely with you.
W, man.
I can't wait to see incredible.
Her in the W. Get her to our Connecticut Sun.
No, we need somebody on the Sun. I'm worried about that team this year.
They're trade everybody.
I'm worried about that team.
And now when the Liberty come back, I'm just gonna be sad. My girl John Quill.
Bro, I mean, my allegiances are to the Sun. So first and foremost. But I definitely got to get to a Liberty game because
we gotta go. I want to go. You do photography. I'll do video on the
other side. So I'm not a big college basketball guy. But you know, I've watched some of the big games. I try to keep an eye out for some of the big players. One of the guys that I liked a lot, and I don't think he's like jumping off the charts or anything like that. He's a freshman, Indiana, Jalen Hood Schifino, and he's a freshman. He's 6'6", like 215 or something like that, and very raw. And you could tell that he's going to grow into his body and grow into his skill set. But great rebounder. He's a fantastic and willing passer, and to me, he just embodies somebody like when you get him on a court with a bunch of shooters and like playmakers around, like he's going to make them better. And
off the screen.
I think he's going to be a fantastic. Again, he's a freshman, so he's got a few years, but I think he's going to be a fantastic addition to an NBA roster at some point in a few years. In terms of the women's side, man, there's so many. Caitlin Clark, I think, is probably she's one of the brightest stars just because like we want to see scoring. We want to see, shots from the logo. Like she's incredible.
She is incredible.
But, you have the buzzsaw that is South Carolina. Bro.
Ain't nobody beating them. Ain't nobody beating them, man. Nobody beating them. They're too good. And they know what is ahead of them. They know what they have to do. They're too good. And I said this on Twitter. Dawn Staley said something that was like a coach's dream. She said this team is low maintenance and high performance. That means she don't got to tell them nothing. They go out and handle business. She just be sitting on the sideline. She just don't even have to really coach. Those girls are dedicated. Like they're committed. They're dedicated. They know what they have to do. They know what the mission is. And I think that they're all determined to get it. I really think that they see history in front of them and they want it. And that's the thing. Like, so that comment, when she said that, I was like, dang, ain't nobody going to beat them.
Bro, and Aaliyah Boston on that team, I saw an interview a couple weeks ago, and she, whoever was asking her the questions was basically just like, if last year I told you that this South Carolina team would go undefeated and have a chance at the national championship and blah, 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 like what would your response be? And Aaliyah Boston said, I'd believe it. Like, I would believe that we would go undefeated because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, like you said, they know what they need to do.
They know.
And they see, again, to your point, they see history in front of them. They went undefeated this regular season. They are by far the best team in college basketball. And bro, like there's going to be some great games in the women's
They got
bracket.
A lot of size, man. They got a lot of size, a lot of scoring. They play angry. Like, the defense they play is like they play like they're still trying to prove something, but they have not lost yet. And that is dangerous. A team that good, that knows they're that good, but is still trying to prove they're that good is dangerous, yo.
Yes.
It's like they know, but they're trying to show us, and I like that.
So before we get out of here, Have you filled out your bracket or brackets yet?
I'm working on it. I've been
Oh,
working on
you're
it all day.
late.
I'm very detailed. No, man. Listen. There's a game on right behind me. There's another game with Arizona State. And I got to see who gets in because
Yep.
there's 11 seeds that are playing
Yes.
tonight. So we got to find out. 11 seeds are the most popular upset seeds to get through. You have to find out whom they are. I already like Pitt. Pitt is an upset team. If you want to listen to the show tomorrow or whatever day this comes out, Pittsburgh. Book it. There's Sweet 16 in it. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
They're 11 seed. They're going to upset people. They score well. They score well. They win close games. They've been winning close games all year. So Pittsburgh, take that down. That's a note. That's my team that I'm rolling with. 11 seed. But look, man, I don't know who's going to win this year. I truly don't. There's a lot of good teams. Like Purdue has been like unquestionably like the balance, like best team in the country. But outside of Zach Edey, their big center, they don't have much of that. And you're not going to be able to play the way that they play in this tournament. You're just not going to be able to do it. Teams are going to speed up. They're going to control. They don't let you control pace like that and go half court and throw it inside to your big man the whole time. They're going to go, other teams are going to want to get you playing their game. So it's going to be tough for them. I do like I like Baylor, but they got a tough road ahead of them. I like UCLA. I like Arizona. I love Texas. I love Marquette. Kansas, they played the toughest schedule out of anybody in college basketball this year, and they still ended up a top 5 team. When they played the top teams, like they couldn't beat Texas in their own conference. Texas beat them up and down the floor every time that they played them. So I don't know what to think of Kansas. I truly don't know. UConn, they could get hot. They have a lot of size. They have shooters everywhere, but I don't know if they have Jason O'Farrell, Jo, another friend of the show, friend of ours, big time UConn fan. He said he don't know if they're going to get out of the first round. He said he thinks they might get got by Iona.
Nah.
And he said they don't have any dogs. He said it. He said he doesn't think they have any dogs. I told him, I said, Jordan Hawkins, he's an NBA player. He's a first-round pick. You have a first-round pick, and you have a senior leader in Udama Sanogo. So you got a big fella who you could throw it into when things get tight and you contested and you need a bucket. And then you got an actual bucket in Jordan Hawkins, man. So I'm excited to see him. UConn can win it all, but they got to put together their best stretch of basketball right now. No hiccups. Okay. They had a hiccup. They had a hiccup against Marquette in the Big East tournament. It was a very close game against Marquette, and they didn't get it. They didn't pull it off because they didn't manage the game properly at the end. So if they put together a good stretch of basketball, I do like UConn. They can win it all. They got all the pieces are there.
Okay. I mean, you could call me a homer if you want, but I'm seeing shades of 2014. So I need UConn men and women to win a championship this year.
Okay. See, I know. Yeah, see,
I need
the
it.
Women. The women. I want to see what I wish. Shout to the homie Paige Beckers, man. I wish that UConn was full tilt. Like I wish that they could play these two teams fully healthy. South Carolina, UConn. That would be a real battle.
I forgot that you saw Paige at one of these games. It dapped her up.
She was just sitting right behind me. She just pulled out. I was like, hold up. I was like, how's the rehab going? She's cool. She's mad cool.
Yeah,
much taller than I thought. I didn't realize how tall she was.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, you're mad tall.
Yeah, my concern with that UConn team, they've been playing basically with like a 7-man rotation all year. Just injuries. They have young, freshmen on the team that didn't play a lot. I truly just think I'm picking them to win, but I think they might just run out of gas. You know what I'm saying? They've had a great season, but a lot of injuries and a lot of obstacles. Yeah.
Even Gino was out for a little while, right?
Yep.
Right. I was gonna say they've been dealing with a lot of turbulence.
Yeah. So we'll see how that pans out. Again, regardless, it's going to be great basketball. I mean, again, I'm not a big college basketball person, but this is the time of year that I watch, and it's in part because you're going to see the stars emerge, or you're going to see the
Right.
stars kind of solidify their place in college basketball history as well as their stock moving forward. But again, it's just great basketball. You know what I'm saying? Across the board, you're getting some of the best teams, the best players across the nation playing, and
everything's on the line. Everything's on the line, and
everything,
these kids
every
are
game.
playing. They just love it.
Yes.
They just love it. Yes, there's a selective few of them that will get drafted to play basketball professionally in June, but for the most part,
small
a lot
percentage,
of these guys are going to be selling insurance and working, doing whatever. Like they're going to be members of the community, just like you and me.
100%.
And others will leave the country to go play abroad, professionally. So this is their opportunity to shine in the United States and make a name for themselves. Notably, there's some notable people in the NBA, names that you might know that turned up in the tournament, and it led to them getting drafted. CJ McCollum, one of the more recent names that I can think of. Well, Lehigh, they beat Duke. And CJ had like a game high, like 29 points or something like that. He was chirping to Coach K. This is a Lehigh. I don't even know where that is. It's in like Indiana or something. I don't know. But he was chirping to Coach K. They had like Austin Rivers, one of the Plumlee brothers, Seth Curry, Quinn Cook. They had like 7 NBA players on that team. Mad NBA players. And he demolished them. He destroyed all of them. So guys make a name for themselves in this tournament.
Absolutely.
Another notable one, Robert Williams. Robert Williams ended up being a first-round draft pick. He destroyed North Carolina. Destroyed them. North Carolina was coming off. They were coming off a year where they had just lost the year before in the national. Or excuse me, they had lost the year before in the Final Four, something like that. We're trying to go back to the national championship. They played these guys and got just scorched. Yeah, scorched. Crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that was the year after they won a national championship, I think.
Yeah. So again, we got March Madness in the next few weeks. Great basketball. We got the NBA home stretch. Great basketball. Every game's going to matter down the stretch. So we've got a lot to talk on.
20 games left.
Yes, we've got a lot to talk on. And honestly, I think we should again, we're an NBA show, but I think we should touch on March Madness over the next few weeks.
Definitely. Definitely. I'll give it a little love. Like I said, I want to cover some college basketball. I didn't realize until the turn. I forget what league it is that's out here. I'm like, there's mad high level college basketball happening within 40 minutes of me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm gonna cover some basketball. I want to cover some because the football games I like doing, but I don't like the cold like that. So,
you and me both.
Yeah, so I like to do basketball. It's inside, it's warm, they're quicker. Oh,
that's true.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All
right.
And I love football.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it off camera. But I got ideas, man.
We'll talk about that. We'll plan on possibly implementing some college basketball moving forward. So with that said, again, we're signing off. My name is Johnell. This is my guy, Matt Price, Cash Walking. And again, if you guys have any suggestions, any questions, any critiques, if we said something wrong or stupid and you disagree with us, let us know down below so that we can talk about it moving forward. Cash, anything before we get out of here? Do you have a game we should watch for? Are the Knicks going to go on a 6-game losing streak? Give me something before we get out of here.
Look, the Knicks are going to be fine. They got a matinee game with Denver, who you said was struggling. They're coming into town on Saturday, so that's going to be good. But yeah, man, look, I'll give you a couple teams to look for. VCU, that's an upset team to look out for. I already mentioned Pitt. Indiana, that's a team I like that can make a run. And also, man, look out for the Blue Bloods, the Kansases, the Michigan States. Michigan State, not a great regular season, but they play in a tough conference in the Big Ten, and they have a legendary coach who knows how to coach in this tournament in Tom Izzo. So look out for them. Look out for them for sure.
Okay. We will tune in over the next week. I don't want to make any promises, but I promise we'll be back next week. We're not going to leave you guys hanging for another week. And we'll get out of here. Cash, my guy. I'll talk to you soon.
Holla at me.